So for the people listening to this is actually going to be an audio version, kind of re-upload of the Jojo manga chapter review thing I did a few days ago. I believe the chapters were Jojo Part 4, Jojo Part 5, Vento Aureo, chapters 17 to 22, covering 5+1, Pulpo's Hidden Treasure, I think it's called, The Mystery Behind Soft Machine, and Bloody Moose Retaliates. I know I was unaware that the video was kind of weird. I don't know if it was not working for everybody or only a few people, but I decided to, just in case, delete it and re-upload this right here. This is going to only be audio, though, instead of, like, face cam or whatever, like, normal stuff, because, I mean, that's the thing I'm trying out right now, but even besides that, it's just way easier to do at the time because it's kind of late at night and I don't feel like sitting in front of the camera doing this stuff. So instead I just got parts of the manga to show, you know, certain sections of what I'm talking about. And other than that, I will just talk about it. So to start us off, 5+1, it really is just a chapter introducing all of our main cast. We have, I believe, Narancia, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I may or may not be wrong. But Narancia, Fugo, Mista, and Abacchio. We learn certain things about the characters, like Fugo and Narancia seem to be friends, but Narancia also is kind of stupid. He never finished elementary school, I believe it was, and Fugo is actually quite intelligent, trying to help Narancia out, but Narancia is kind of a fucking idiot and gets it wrong despite all of Fugo's help, and Fugo, like, stabs him in the face at one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Fugo stabs him in the face. Well, yeah. And then Narancia pulls out a knife and just tries to shank him. But, you know, whatever. So it seems that Fugo, or, like, Cheese Boy, because he has holes all over his suit, why does he wear an incomplete outfit? He seems to have a bit of a temper, despite the fact that he seems like he's a good friend, but he also will stab you. So I guess he just has like a bit of a temper or something. We also see Mista. I know, even though it has not been introduced yet, because it's really hard to avoid spoilers in the JoJo fandom, I do know what his stand is, but I'm not going to say it just in case people don't know. But I do know there's Mista, and I also know that based on, you know, this chapter, he has a weird thing with the number 4. He seems to view it as a very unlucky number, which it is. It's kind of like in the U.S., a lot of buildings won't have like a 13th floor because of the bad luck associated with that number. 4 is kind of the same thing. I think I heard that either in Japanese or Chinese or something like that, the word for death is the same as the word for 4. It's like pronounced the same or something. I could be wrong about that, but there is a connection between the word death and the number 4, the word for the number 4. That much is actually true. I do know that. But so Mista has like a weird thing with luck and the number 4, which I'm sure we'll learn about later because that is a very specific trait he has. And Abacchio is just chilling. You know, he's just doing whatever he wants, sipping tea, you know, it's whatever. And then so Giordano comes in and you know, Bucciolati is the leader. So, you know, you're hoping, alright, everything's gonna go smoothly. Giordano seems to be sort of meek, at least the way it's like the way I'm viewing him in the manga page, in the manga chapter. He seems kind of meek. And, you know, Abacchio, being the cool, sensible guy he is, pees in a teacup. And then essentially is like, okay, well then fucking drink it, baby bitch boy. And everyone's like, oh, he's such a little bitch baby, he's not gonna do it, oh, what a loser. And, you know, Bucciolati's trying to rein them in, and Giordano's like, I have to prove myself. So, he drinks it. Or so they think. The thing is, they're not actually sure if he did or didn't drink it, but we know that he managed to turn his tooth into a jellyfish around the last minute, so that it absorbed all the piss water. And it's actually just kind of funny how fucking OP Giordano's ability actually really is. Like, the ability to just create life is astounding. I don't know, like, he can just turn things into other things. And I don't know if you guys understand how really OP Golden Experience really, really is at the end of the day. I am only, like, 22 chapters in fully, and I still know how OP this thing probably is. It is so convenient in so many situations, even just within 22 chapters. It's actually amazing. Although something I'm confused about, I think they mention later a fact about his stand that I'm slightly confused about because it contradicts something from earlier, I feel, but we'll get there when we get there. That isn't for another 2 chapters. So, you know, you can kind of say, ooh, he's starting to earn respect, but maybe not quite. So the next chapter is Pulpo's Hidden Treasure, which really is just about, it's kind of a setup chapter. These last 2 chapters have been setup chapters, setting up to, like, you know, what are they doing right now, and what are the characters, because, I mean, hey, we gotta figure these things out first, right? We can't just not know anything before we hit right into the stand battles. So now we're dealing with, I believe his name is Mario. Could be wrong. But there's Mario, and he's got a partner, and they find out about, to make it simple, they find out about Pulpo's hidden treasure that Bucciolati knows the location of, or rather, Mario and his partner kind of just surmise, they guess that Bucciolati probably knows, because Bucciolati did deal with Pulpo a lot, so they're kind of just like, well, if anybody knows, Bucciolati has to know, right? Because he's got all of the ins. So Bucciolati decides, alright, it's time, we gotta go find that treasure, there's a whole lot of money, let's go. And so they're on, like, a boat, and they're just kind of chillaxing. I can't remember what Narantia and everybody else was doing at the time, but I know that, not Narantia, Abbacchio. I don't know what, like, Abbacchio or Giordano might have necessarily been doing at the time, but Narantia was listening to, like, some music, but it's also so stupid that Mista ends up breaking the radio because he's getting annoyed with the music. But Mista's just being a little shithead, and Narantia just wants to listen to music, and it's kind of, oh, happy fun time. But then shit starts going awry, right? I'm still getting used to these names. Bucciolati is explaining, hey, we're gonna go, we gotta get this treasure, but we gotta be careful because, you know, people might know about this, the organization might know, we just gotta, you know, be careful until we get the money. And then all of a sudden, bam, Narantia just, like, disappears. We don't know what's going on. And everybody, one by one, starts disappearing, too. They're just, like, it looks like they're sucked into the fucking void, to be honest. It literally just feels like they're getting, like, ripped into the, into wherever they're falling into. Like, they're falling down the side, they're falling into open, like, areas. It's ridiculous, right? So, then what ends up happening is they're trying to figure out what happened to Narantia. And I believe Giordano ends up turning one of the shoes into a fly. So that way, ends up turning one of the shoes into a fly. So that way, this is the part that I got confused on. He says that, like, because the shoe belonged to Narantia, it's going to want to follow its owner, and that's going to help, like, find, I'm sorry, all my stuff's getting messed up, but that's going to, try and help find Narantia, because it's like, oh, you know, the fly will go to where its owner is, like, that's how you can kind of, like, track them down. But the reason that it sort of confuses me is because in the, like, first chapter, Giordano turns Koichi's luggage into a frog, which ends up following Giordano, but they make the comment several times since then that, like, oh, but, like, they punched the one guy's tooth out and turned it into a fly, and it followed, I think it was Bucciolati or something like that. He turned some part of Bucciolati or some part of some dude into a fly, and it followed him around, and it was like, oh, I knew you were with him because I turned your X thing into a fly. You know what I mean? Like, that's really weird, but Koichi's luggage just was like, no, I don't want to be near you. And I don't know, that kind of was confusing to me. But so Giordano does that, and he's like, okay, well, you know, we gotta figure something out. And Bucciolati says, oh, we'll just have Abbacchio do whatever. Abbacchio can use his ability. The issue is, Abbacchio doesn't fucking trust Giordano, and, like, honestly, I can't really blame him. Living in a mafia world, like, Giordano just kind of comes out of nowhere, right? Like, he's like, oh, Bucciolati's like, he's joining the team now, but like, your stand abilities, once someone knows what it is, that's, like, the roughest part, right? Because if you know what it is, and you can figure out how to counter it, then what happens then? Especially with someone like Abbacchio, who has the stand of Moody Blues. Now, Moody Blues seems to be able to, which will be explained in a second, has the ability to kind of reenact something from the past. So to explain it more thoroughly, he ends up reenacting Narantia from, like, 5 minutes ago. So his Moody Blues will actually visibly turn into Narantia, and for the next 5 minutes, from 5 minutes ago, reenact everything Narantia did and happened to him. So it's like, oh, the thing with the boombox, and then this, that, the other thing, and then getting pulled into the space, you know, we find what happens to him. But while they're doing that whole reenact thing, he's completely defenseless. So of course he's, like, super freaked out and doesn't want to show his stand to anybody. What else is, like, you don't want to do that. But so Giordano takes one for the team. He ends up getting stabbed because we can see that a hand comes out and very clearly stabs him and pulls him in. So he gets stabbed and he gets pulled in, and that's when Abbacchio's like, alright, I'm going to use... It's like, okay, he tries to, like, figure out where everybody is, whatever, and Abbacchio ends up using Moody Blues, right? And Moody Blues, like I said previously, can reenact a person from X amount of time ago, right? I don't know if there's a time limit or whatever, but he turns into Narantia from, like, 5 minutes ago. So, reenacts everything pretty much up until the point where he also got stabbed, because you can assume that much, like, Giordano got stabbed, Narantia got stabbed. So, he gets stabbed, a hole appears in his back, and then all of a sudden, he's deflated. Apparently, this stabbing can, like, shrink. It says shrink, but really, I think they mean, like, get thinner, like he's getting smaller because he's deflating. And so, somehow this person can deflate the bodies. And what ends up happening is, they manage to figure out some of what's going on, and they realize it's in the pipes. And so because of that, Abbacchio is like, alright, well, we gotta find what's going on. So he puts his Moody Blues into the pipes to, like, follow it around to see where it goes, because he can trace his own stand. He knows where his own stand is. So he's going to essentially, like, try and just figure it out based on that. It sounds kind of weird, but when you read the chapter, you get a better sense of what's going on. I'm also doing, like, a super clip notes version, since I've already kind of talked about this, and this is, like, a re-video, which sucks, but it is what it is. I've also already transitioned into part 1 and 2 of, the mystery behind Soft Machine. I did not realize that. I didn't mention that. Regardless, right now we're in the mystery behind Soft Machine. So Abbacchio is trying to do that, but what ends up happening is that Abbacchio cannot find his stand. Even though he's tracking it, like, perfectly. He knows exactly where it is. Whenever Bucciolati uses his sticky fingers to open up the zippers to find it, it's not there, and he's freaking out, and he doesn't understand why he can't find it. So Abbacchio is like, okay, this is dangerous, call back Moody Blues, but apparently he already has called him back, and Moody Blues is, like, weirdly stuck in an area that he can't get out of. But, you know, just as Abbacchio manages to figure out what exactly happened, he gets stabbed and deflated. And now we're also into the, Moody Blues retaliates. Sorry, this is kind of all over the place. Like I said, this is a re-upload, and I'm kind of doing this on the fly, really last minute. I just wanted to get it out because I had no idea that my video got fucked up. So the other ones will be better. This is just kind of like quickly going through the chapter kind of as I'm talking. But anyway, so we're like, okay, we gotta figure this out. And at this point, I have no fucking idea what Soft Machine can possibly be doing. Yes, I know that he's like deflating people, but what is even? And of course he's leaving Bucciolati for last, because Bucciolati obviously knows where Pulpo's hidden treasure is, or at the very least, as far as we know, Bucciolati totally knows where Pulpo's hidden treasure is. So it's like, what are you going to do about it? We got to keep him alive. And essentially, Soft Machine goes about threatening Bucciolati, and you kind of are like, oh fuck, Bucciolati's screwed, right? But nope, we are wrong, because Bucciolati's got a hidden trick up his sleeve, in that he ends up purposefully sinking the ship, and because they figured out what was going on with this dude. And what was going on was that, this is where I also get sort of confused. What was going on was that he had used Soft Machine to stab and deflate a literal, like, identical fucking ship to the one they're on. And then somehow, that ship was, like, pulled over their ship as, like, a cover. And so, yes, they were deflated and they were going through the pipes, but he would be, like, unzipping the wrong ship, so we never saw. Like, honestly, if I'm being really honest, this really, really confused me. Like, based on how the stand works, I generally understood what was happening. But regarding, like, sticky fingers and everything, and how all that was going on, I was really confused as to how he managed to, like, somehow just pull one ship over the other, find two identical ships. Like, there are just certain parts of this that were kind of confusing to me. As a whole, I understood the match, but it's just, like, little things that are very confusing, and how they, like, technically work with his stand and, like, with other people's stands. Because, I don't know, unless there's just, like, things that were unseen going on in the background, I was actually kind of confused about that. But regardless, he was hiding in, like, I think some part of the ship, or, like, in the secondary ship. It's weird, but he was hiding someplace that they couldn't get to because they did not realize that there were actually two ships instead of just one ship. And what ends up happening is, honestly, Bucciolati pretty much just destroys this dude. I think Bucciolati ends up cutting his head off, I believe. I gotta check the manga again, but I'm pretty sure Bucciolati just ends up cutting his head off. He comes out in his ugly ass outfit, and the last panel I remember reading, and I'm gonna double check it right now if I absolutely can. The last panel I remember reading is, yeah, he gets his, well, I guess he doesn't get his head cut off, but he does get it zipped off. So I'll just go ahead and say that he got his head cut off. And yeah, that's kind of like the super Cliff Notes version of the last 4 chapters. Oh, it says the user's name is Zucchero or whatever for Soft Machine, but I'm pretty sure his first name is Mario. I think it's Mario Zucchero or whatever the fuck, or Zucchero. I don't know how you pronounce these names. Yeah, if you go to the Jojo wiki, that's what it says, so that's what I'm gonna go with. But like I said, sorry about it being super Cliff Notesy. This is kind of just a re-upload. I was just trying to do this kind of quickly because I do want to read the other chapters, and I only want to do like one chapter at a time instead of like a whole bunch of them like I was doing for this video and the last. But I couldn't really help it. In the last video, the like 3 or 4 chapters I ended up talking about, I had actually, or it might have actually been more than that, but I'd actually already read the first several chapters before I started doing YouTube stuff like this. So, it's not like it was any new information. And this is just a re-upload, so I kind of got dicked over in that way. But, it's whatever. These things happen. If you want to re-listen to this, go ahead. I'm not going to keep the original video up since it doesn't seem to be working too well for me anymore. If you made it this far, then, great. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your opinions on this whole thing is. Let me know what they are, I should say. That's probably more proper English. I was actually really confused by Soft Machine in some ways. It's mainly due to the fact that his whole stabby, deflatey power. But to be fair, it's not like I hear a lot of people referencing Soft Machine. So I can't imagine that this fight was just so amazing that a lot of people, remember it vividly anyway. I mean, it is what it is. There are some great fights and some not so great fights. And for me, this was one of the more not so great fights. Let me know what you thought of these chapters in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. I will talk to you later with more chapters that will hopefully not need to be re-uploaded and will definitely work the first time around. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.